LinkedIn will reach 1 billion users before the end of the year. Today's topic is commenting on social media. What is it and why it's important? In the next 15 minutes, you'll have learned the top 3 use cases for commenting on social media. So welcome to the Walking Digital Corridors podcast, where we discuss the latest tips and tricks to empower you to walk digital corridors more effectively. Our aim is to empower you, our listeners, to have more conversations with your target audience and develop predictability in your pipeline. So for me, commenting on social media is the closest digital activity that I do that is closest to in-person networking. And so let me explain that a little bit more, because actually, before I do, let's do some introductions. So Jordan, do you want to say hi?
Sure thing. Age before beauty, Jensen. I know this is the second time that I've gone before you on the intros. I am Jordan Abbott, SDR at Vidyard. I will pass it over to Jensen, who I think has the same question on the tip of his tongue as I do. But go for it, Jensen.
Hey all, Jensen Abbott here, BDR at content.ai. And yeah, the question was, how many people are currently using LinkedIn?
Good question. It's just coming up here. 985 million members on LinkedIn today.
Wow.
By the end of the year, so what, they need 15 million more?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was 930 million by end of March in 2023. So I haven't found a graph that is the full projection, but it does feel like it's going to surpass 1 billion by the end of the year.
Wow.
Incredible.
So back to what I was saying. So why do I think social media commenting or commenting on social media is the closest thing to in-person networking, which is arguably the most effective form of prospecting? Problem is it's not scalable, and it can get pretty expensive attending a lot of events. And so if you imagine that you're at an event or you're in a networking environment, you walk into a room, you've maybe done some of your research already, you know who you want to have a chat with, you can see 1 or 2 of those people already speaking to other people today. You might walk around the room and just kind of, figure out who else is there that you want to chat to. And you'll, probably start to walk a little bit closer to the person you want to have a chat with, listen to the conversation that they're having, and wait for your moment to step in and contribute to the conversation. And it might be that you think of an intelligent question to ask, or a smart comment, something that makes you look good. But you're waiting for that moment to insert yourself into that conversation and be part of the conversation and start to build rapport. It's exactly the same on social media. It's just that not many salespeople, from my experience, are doing it or carving out the time that they need to do it on a daily basis, weekly basis. And as you guys know, we target ourselves to get into at least 100 of these social networking conversations every week. And if we don't, we know that we're unlikely to generate the level of conversations that we want to, or build depth of relationships with people at scale. It's, for me, out of everything that you can do with regards to social selling and influence, it's certainly one of those leading indicators. Anyway, I'm doing a lot of talking now, but Jensen, what are your thoughts on this topic?
I think it's key to be commenting on people's posts. It has a lot of benefits: increase your visibility, increase your kind of trusted advisor status, but also sharing your thoughts, expertise, and experiences with your network is is key to be gaining conversations with the people that you would like to talk to. What you've got to remember is you're the one who's commenting on the post you would like. So for me, I find it works a dream. For example, I kind of saw 4 posts last week. On 4 of those posts, I really kind of sat down for 10 minutes, thought of a comment, commented on that post with kind of a curious response and a question, and then using that to actually kind of get into a conversation, have a call with the individual. So it's getting them on the hook. But I know Jordan has kind of these three kind of different types of commenting, and the value that you can get from them. So I'll actually pass over to Jordan, as I'm sure everyone's dying to listen to them.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, just before I share those 3, just to, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm flogging a dead horse here, but it is without a doubt the most impactful thing that you can do on social, because you've heard the saying, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Posting is you're on a soapbox essentially, and it's inclusive and is as thought-provoking you try and make it. That's what you are. You're spreading your message. Whereas commenting, you're actually sitting back, you're taking in what other people are saying, you're actively listening. And then, as you said, you're trying to find that opportunity to insert yourself in the conversation. And as I see it, there's no sort of official, top 3 or 3 types of comments. But as I see it, there are 3. So there's the supportive comment, which is along the lines of, "Oh, this is great, Jensen. Absolutely love this, Alex. Commenting for reach," that sort of thing. And consider they do get harder as you go on to the next step, but they also increase in value. So that's number 1, probably the easiest. Number 2 is a supplementary comment. So you're adding on to what the person that's posted is saying. You're adding some extra insights, you mentioning a piece of research that supports that post. And then the third, which is arguably the hardest, but easily the most valuable, it's the curious comment, as you mentioned, Jens. It's taking in what someone said and then asking a question, a purposeful question, to continue that conversation. Because unless someone is very rude, they're going to respond to you. So that's a way to get that back and forth. So rather than someone saying something and then you saying something back, it's starting to get the conversation flowing, right?
I think if I cast my mind back to when I started doing this in the beginning, it wasn't easy to do. I knew I needed to do it, but it felt like it was a hurdle to jump every time I tried to do it. One of the things I found to be most effective is to take my sales hat off and actually just think about the individual and the humanity of the personal side of trying to have a conversation with somebody because you're genuinely interested about the topic or about them.
Yeah, and on that note as well, I would also add, kind of, I don't know how to word it, but I like to play dumb. I like to sit and think, I don't have any idea on this. How about you share your thoughts and opinions on the topic? And then so I can listen to hear what they have to say. So for me, I like to ask questions. And even if some people see it as a silly question, I don't think any question is silly, especially if you're trying to understand a specific point, pain point, experience, or expertise that someone's sharing. I always like to go the extra mile and, oh, so how did you do that? And how did you get there? And also kind of just being curious about the individual and the topic itself can also be key to uncovering just a conversation about that topic and learning more. I like to look at being a sponge, so taking in as much information as possible and learning from others. And that's also another great thing with commenting on posts. You learn new things every day by having conversations.
Yeah. Now, not everybody that we would want to have a conversation with is posting on LinkedIn. I forget the exact stat, but it's something like less than 1% of those 985 million members on LinkedIn are active on a weekly basis. So what are some of the things, what's the advice that you would give to our audience about how to increase your visibility and your influence with those harder to reach stakeholders within companies that you want to speak to that perhaps are not posting on LinkedIn?
I mean, should I give it to Jord? Should I pass over to Jordan, or I can answer? I don't mind.
Yeah, fire away. I've got something in mind, but yeah, fire away.
Yeah, I mean, bringing them into the conversation. If you notice that they have interacted with a specific post on a specific topic, and you bump into another post that is kind of similar to that, bring them in on the conversation. The worst thing that can happen is that they don't reply to it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the worst thing. No one's going to judge you. No one's going to say any bad names. All you're trying to do is you're actually trying to just build that relationship with that individual. And I think you've got to remember as well is not everyone's going to speak to you. So just try it. Give it a go. Try and bring them into the conversation. Try and do a post maybe around the topic that you've seen that they've interacted with. So then you can try and spark interest or get them to interact with your post.
Yeah. Go on, Jordan.
Yeah, no, just building on what you said, as you mentioned, if they've engaged with the post, definitely comment. They'll be notified that someone or people are commenting on that post that they liked. Or what is it? Istatoy. That I only recently learned what that acronym meant, but I saw this and thought of you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's perhaps slightly more cheeky, but when there's a post about something that you think a prospect might be interested in or someone might be interested in, I'll tag them and then put Istatoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also worth noting that whilst the topic today is commenting on social media, when we think about the compounding effect of doing all of the other things that we can do on social media, if we're connecting with as many people as possible within those companies that we'd like to do business with, by commenting on either posts that other stakeholders have done within the business or topics that we know that those people that we're not, those ideal stakeholders we're not yet connected to are interested in, the commenting in those two scenarios builds our influence within that organization, because those people that we started to connect to, not yet the ideal stakeholders, are typically well connected within that organization. And so by commenting and popping up in the timeline of those secondary, tertiary stakeholders within the organization, we increase our chances of being seen by those primary stakeholders that we really like to connect with and build a relationship with. Yeah.
That's
and
great.
as they see us popping up, we become a friendly face. So that time when we do choose to connect with them, we're potentially somebody that they feel like they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. Conscious of time, there is one more thing just
Okay.
to really hammer the message home. So when I was doing my reporting this Monday, looking back over the past 4 weeks, throughout that period, I just come back from holiday, build up for the events. And the one thing that changed within my behaviors was a lack of commenting, and my meeting booking rate suffered. I booked only half as many meetings as I typically would. So get out there and get commenting is the message.
That's a really good point. And on that note, I think we're just coming to a close. So thank you for joining us today on Walking Digital Corridors podcast, the commenting on social media episode. Next week, we're going to be looking at content marketing versus content making. So look out for the event, LinkedIn event for next week, and we will see you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. Good morning. And how are we this morning? Hopefully you're enjoying our Halloween theme. So, did you know a study from Forrester Research indicates that 1 minute of video can be equivalent to 1.8 million words, highlighting its substantial impact in conveying messages effectively. So welcome to the Walking Digital Corridors podcast this morning, where we discuss the latest tips and tricks to empower you to walk digital corridors more effectively. We aim to empower our listeners to have more conversations with their target audience and develop predictability in your pipeline. So today's topic is video in sales. So we aim by the end of this to have given you at least 3 of the best video use cases that you can apply quite literally today. So hopefully quite a practical session. So I'm your co-host, Alex Abbott, founder of Sapiro, also creator of the Conversation Operating System. And I'm going to hand over to Jordan to introduce himself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jordan Abbott, apparently the resident video expert,
Yes.
seeing as though I work as an SDR at Vidyard. Apologies if I'm a bit bunged up. 'Tis the sneezing and all that. I'm fighting a bit of a cold at the minute, but yeah, glad to be here with you. What's that?
Sneezing, that's the first.
Yeah, someone said it on a call to me yesterday, and I loved it. So it's now part of my my vocabulary.
Brilliant. And Jensen.
Hi, all Jensen Abbott, BDR at content.ai, and I'll have to apologise as well because I too am also fighting a cold. But yeah, nice to be here.
Cool. Glad you both made it fighting colds. Anyway, I hope you both feel better soon. So with that, as you said, Jordan, you said you're the resident video expert. I agree with you, working at Vidyard. So I suspect you will have a lot of the mic this morning. But as our resident video expert, why is video one of the best tools in our armory as salespeople?
Yeah. So I think the easiest way to break it down is by using the 3 E's of video, or as I know them, the video superpowers. So initially, it's more engaging. So it basically allows us to leverage our body language, our intonation to tell better, more engaging stories. We can make our prospects laugh, smile, whatever emotion you want to feel, you can do so more effectively with a visual. Secondly, it's more educational. Now, the reason being is that we can complement our message with a visual. We know that the human brain processes visual information a lot quicker than text. As you mentioned, a minute video is the equivalent of 1.8 million words. But additionally, it's also a lot more memorable, between sort of 5x to 9.5x more memorable than written text, depending on which research you believe. And then finally, it's more empathetic. And what I mean by that is it gives us an opportunity to be more genuine, more personal. We can really sort of show empathy to the challenges that our prospect or the receiver is facing. And again, that ties into the body language and intonation piece as well. So yeah. Those 3 E's are crucial.
Yeah, let's come back to that empathy one in a moment, because I think that's so important for us in sales. And you know, when it's so difficult to actually create a conversation with our target audience, most salespeople don't have the opportunity to express empathy. So by doing so through the power of video, using that as a prospecting tool, I think that's incredibly important. We should dial into that, because remember, we want to give our audience at least 3 use cases to take away and try. Yeah. So Jensen, as BDR at content.ai, couple of years experience in sales now. What do you, and I've seen you do a number of different videos. What do you enjoy the most about video, and why?
So great question. I just want to jump in there. So also kind of at the beginning, I just want to add, it wasn't enjoyable, me being totally honest. It was a real step outside my comfort zone. It was honestly, if you would look at my camera roll after I shot a video, there would be 30, 40 takes. I wanted to kind of make it as perfect as possible. Also, while checking my hair, making sure my beard looked okay, right? The normal standard stuff kind of a lot most people do when they record a video, right? But I think it's
Are people really as vain as you though?
yeah, yeah. Well, maybe not, but I mean, look, really, it's just kind of jumping in and doing it and realizing actually, kind of, I need to throw myself out of my comfort zone to kind of move forward with my goals and targets, and that's then when it became enjoyable for me. It's the great story that you told me, Alex, about kind of being I keep forgetting it. Is it unconsciously competent? Kind of
That's it.
when you just get to the point where you just do it without kind of even realizing.
Yeah.
And I think that's
You
what
say that you're there now with video.
I would say happily, yeah. I would say easily. I can now just come up with an idea of video, put my phone in front of me. I don't even need a script anymore. It might just be a couple of words to kind of prompt me on what I'm going to say. So
Yeah.
then when I can kind of do the video, it's a bit more natural, right?
Yeah. For our viewers, should we just do that whole kind of unconsciously competent thing?
Yeah.
Can you
Go on.
remember it all?
I'll let you explain it because
Okay.
yeah.
So it's this idea of when you try something new, you're consciously incompetent, like when you first learn to drive a car, right? So you get in the car and you're very conscious that you can't do it. So you need some lessons, you need to practice. And then you go from consciously incompetent to
It's
uh,
just
so
quickly.
unconsciously incompetent is the first one, to consciously incompetent. Then you're consciously competent, so you know what you're doing, you're thinking about it, and you're having to really exert a lot of concentration, let's say, until you get to that point where you've done it so many times that you're unconsciously competent, and you get in the car, go from A to B, and you don't even know what you did between those two points.
Yeah, exactly that. And
We got there.
and I mean, yeah, we got there in the end. But hey, look, why I enjoy it so much now, it paints a picture for the prospects or the people that I'm talking to. That's one thing that I kind of find annoying now. If I can't see a picture or video of someone on their LinkedIn profile, I struggle to paint a picture of who they are, how they sound, the type of language or tone that they use.
Yeah.
So really for me, it's there to paint a picture so people know who I am, what I look like. They can hear how I sound, so I'm not pushy, I'm not kind of moany, or I don't have this horrible voice. I'm actually very calm,
Oh,
empathetic.
that's debatable.
Yeah.
To Roland's point, though, Jensen, right? Building relationships is key in
Yeah.
sales. Is getting full trust from a text email.
I mean,
Exactly.
just to add on that, how disconcerting is it when you jump on a live video call with someone and they've got their camera turned off?
I know.
I don't know if that's just me, but it's a horrible feeling because you can't really connect, and that's what to Rol's point, and that's what it enables you to do is connect and start to build that relationship. Sorry, James, you were
Oh
saying.
yeah, and that's a great point, right? It's almost trying to make it seem as in person as possible, right? So you're able to build that relationship, kind of find ground with each other. So no, totally get your point, Jordan. I've had it many times where people join, and I've even said to them, "Oh, am I going to see your face today? Is that kind of on the cards?" And normally it's left with, "Oh, my camera's broken," or "I can't get Teams working," which is, I think it's just kind of the odd kind of excuse. But no, look, it's for me, it's really to kind of get a better understanding of the person, what they look like, how can I paint a picture, and really it's that side that also makes it so enjoyable for me. And like you said, Alex, kind of, I've made many videos, so's Jordan. I mean, be sure to kind of check a couple of them out. You can get some inspiration from them. So please do, if you can get some inspiration from them, use that, right? And I think that's another tip for people is don't be scared if you see a video and you like it to recreate it in your own way.
Yeah, it's a good point. So we're getting some lovely comments from people in the audience today. So thank you for that. Please do keep them coming. It helps us, and it can also direct the conversation. LinkedIn user though, tis the sneezing. You're showing as LinkedIn user because of your privacy settings on LinkedIn. If you want to show yourself, just drop your name in there. We'll know it's you. We'll give you a shout out.
I was wondering why you kept pulling that comment up. I was like, oh, we like that one.
Yeah, dad being sad, is it, or something like that? And we haven't quite got the full Abbott family, but here's mum. I'm someone who is quite nervous in front of the camera. What advice can you give? Who wants to have a go at that one? Because I think that's a really good one.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in there. Roll. I know that you've got to jump. Please do drop me a message, and happy to have a conversation about scaling the approach for sure. So in relation to taking that first step, one of the things is trying to be yourself and have fun with it. And I know that's easier said than done, as you mentioned, Jensen. To make that first video as easy as possible, perhaps just answer a question that you've been given that you know the answer to, that you can just speak verbatim into the camera. If you are thinking about creating a slightly longer video, then have a script, use a teleprompter that will literally show you exactly what to say, and just really concentrate on that script initially, right? That will help you to remove that sort of pressure of the camera watching you. But additionally, remove all expectations from it, and just bring your whole self. And really, it's all about connection rather than perfection. We're not trying to make Hollywood films here. It's just a way to connect someone with someone, to bridge that gap between the FaceTime that you are permitted. So don't put pressure on yourself.
I love that. It's connection, not perfection. So just before we kind of come to an end with 2 or 3 minutes left to go, and also trying to answer Raoul's comment here, what are the top 3 use cases for video in sales? And try and think about the scale aspect there. I don't know if, Jordan, you've got all 3. Jensen, you want to have a go at 1 or all 3? But we've only got a couple minutes left.
Let Jordan fire away, and I can add in. I can add in at the end.
Yeah. So I'll try and keep it quite concise. So I think the most obvious one is that video prospecting piece. Crucial to keep them between 35 to 45 seconds. After 45 seconds, we see a drop off. After that minute mark, it sort of drops off a cliff. So
good morning, Alyssa, by the way.
Good morning, Alyssa. Try and keep it brief. Couple of ways you can do that. Perhaps you're on their LinkedIn profile. I love to put my profile picture next, or my camera bubble next to theirs, give a little wave across to them.
That's using the Vidyard application though, isn't it?
Yeah. Other brands available.
Okay.
Yeah,
because when you describe it, it's like, well, how do you do that?
Yeah. Good point. In relation to that scale piece, if you are running ABM campaigns, perhaps rather than being on the individual's LinkedIn profile, you're on their website, and you're talking to a problem that that department has, or a hypothesis that you think that department is facing a challenge. So do that.
Can I stop you there, George?
Yeah.
Would you put the third one in the meeting invitation on LinkedIn, because we're about to run out of time, and I think LinkedIn does cut us off, and I do want to say thank you to everybody for joining this morning. We do want to keep these to 15-minute bite-sized chunks so you can get on with your busy day. And if you're interested in how to comment on social, join us at 12:15 today. Have a great day, folks.
Cheers, guys.